Hello. We are getting into our summertime. This coming weekend will be July the 1st. Sunday, anyhow, will be July 1st. So we're really getting into the true summer season. And starting off with the 13th week of Ordinary Time. Just as an aside, it's not in the written transcript. 13 has always been a problematic number. I was always interested in the fact that Our Lady of Fatima always appeared on the 13th of the month. And in my own mind, I've always thought that meant that nothing belongs to the devil. Everything that is good belongs to the Lord. And so she was taking possession of the number 13, which had often been assigned to the devil. In our first reading for the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time from Wisdom, chapter 1, verses 13 to 15, chapter 2, verses 23 to 24. God did not make death, nor does he rejoice in the destruction of the living. God did not create death, but only life. Read in Genesis. Death entered the world through the sinful disobedience of Adam and Eve. Reference here is to Romans chapter 5, verse 12. God formed man to be imperishable. The image of his own nature he made him. He made us to be his sons and daughters in his image and likeness. Referring to Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. Made in his own image and likeness, living forever happily with him. Then on to the third reading, Mark chapter 5, verses 21 to 43. Jairus pleads, "My daughter is at the point of death. Please come, lay your hands on her, that she may live, that she may get well and live." Despite the report that the daughter has died, Jesus says, "Do not be afraid, just have faith." Jesus goes and tells her to arise, and he does, and she does. Jesus gives her physical health as a sign to all that he wishes to give us the health that is eternal, called holiness. He is the God that robs death of its power to be the eternal termination of life. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 25b, For the trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Paul continues in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 54c to 55. Death is swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? Then on to the other incident that happens in this gospel. The woman afflicted with hemorrhages for 12 years says to herself, "If I but touch his clothes, I shall be cured." She felt in her body that she was healed of her affliction. Jesus, aware at once that power had gone out from him, turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who has touched my clothes?" Although he was jostled about in the crowd, and many people were rubbing up against him, none had done so with the faith to be cured at that moment. Her faith had released the curative energy from Jesus, without Jesus even knowing who had done it. The power of faith is that we hand ourselves over to the power of God. The God who created us to be loved by him and to live in his love forever is the God who will give only good things to those who wish to live in his love. In Matthew chapter 7, verse 11, Jesus says, "If you then, who are wicked, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your heavenly Father give good things to those who ask him?" In 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 21 to 43, the second reading, apparently expecting Jesus to return soon after his ascension into heaven, to end the world, to take all who believed in him to heaven, the Christians in Jerusalem sold all that they had, shared the proceeds with one another, and waited for the second coming of the Lord. When the Lord did not come, they were living in abysmal poverty. In this Sunday's second reading, Paul makes an appeal to the Corinthians to support the Christians in Jerusalem. Basically, Paul is saying, be generous as Jesus was generous, giving his life for us. You who have much should give to those who have nothing, so that both of you have something. This message blends in with the other two readings in that God is the generous giver who gives good things to those in need, even health to the sick and life to the dead. Live in the goodness of God. God bless us all during these warm days that are coming, warm days of summer.